I'm Scott Allen Miller, and it is Sheep Guarding Llama for the 14th of November 2019, and I'm recording this in the future here in my old bedroom in Pavilion, New York. So we started the day at 5:30 this morning. Dominica's grandfather, her father's father, passed away in his sleep peacefully. We had been kind of expecting this for a few weeks. He had had last rites several weeks ago, and he's been on morphine, and we were just aware that things were declining. I mean, he's been in a nursing home for a few months, so in a real care facility. So it's not very surprising. He's 92. I'm sorry, 94, and it didn't come as a big shock, but that was 5:30 this morning, and he's been so able to rally whenever he was really ill that there was a lot of hope that he may have months or years still. There wasn't, although he had some issues that we were pretty sure we weren't looking at a really long period of time yet. So Dominica woke me up this morning with that news, and we spent a good portion of the day. We did some packing. We knew we were going to be heading to New York sometime soon, but we have a bunch of things going on, and we weren't sure if I needed to go to Canada. Luckily, we had rescheduled that, and Paul was going to Saskatoon for me. So that would have been a terrible disruption had I had to go there. So it worked out really well that we had already planned around that. And so we weren't sure what was going to happen if the funeral was going to be during the week next week, if we might have to leave as early as tomorrow morning. On Friday to get up there. So about mid-afternoon. So I worked during the day, pretty much normal, trying to catch up, knowing that there was going to be a big disruption in the schedule. So just trying to get projects taken care of as much as possible, get ducks in a row. And then we talked about maybe leaving tonight, but Dominica decided that leaving tonight was just too much. You end up spending an extra night in a hotel, and you don't really get that far in the first night. We couldn't leave until relatively late anyway, so we ruled that out. And by mid-afternoon, knew that the funeral was going to be on Monday with the wake on Sunday, so we needed to get up there, so we have to leave tomorrow morning. This after work at 5:30. Today was SpiceCorps DFW. Rachel came by the house probably about 4:45 or 5 o'clock. We hopped in the car and drove down to that. Paul had league tonight, so he wasn't able to go. It's Thursday. So Rachel and I went. It was down at K1 Raceway in Arlington. I'd never been down there. It's like a go-kart racing indoors. It's kind of cool. I didn't do any racing, but it looked cool. But they're electric carts and they control everything, so it's not as cool as it seems. It just looks cool, but when you're actually doing it, you don't have that much control. Whatever. We had a good talk with Double Radius, who presented the whole thing and provided barbecue and dinner and beers and stuff. They were really nice, and they talked about Ubiquity products and how they work with Ubiquity. They're a master distributor for Ubiquity, so I think it was a pretty good vendor choice. We enjoyed meeting them, and I think it was some good contacts. Had a good overall meeting. It was Rachel's first time going to SpiceCorps. She's been to Spice World. Obviously, that's the bigger deal, but this is her first time going to the local meeting, and I think that went really well for her. She's looking forward to going back. We got to hang out a bit. So that went until probably about 9 o'clock. They got started right about 6, so probably left around 9, got back around 9:45. Dominica had done almost all of the packing. We helped get things ready. And then Dominica went to bed super early because she's ready to get up in the morning. Rachel and I watched some Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban because I wasn't ready to fall asleep yet. And then tomorrow, first thing, we're getting up super early and heading for New York. So Dominica, I, and the kids are going to New York. Paul will be watching the dog, Mia, for the week. And then he's heading to Saskatoon before we come back from New York. We're expecting to come back from New York at the end of next weekend. So we're going to be gone just over a week, about the same amount of time that I was in Nicaragua. On Rachel News, she thinks she has found an apartment. She is attempting to get a place right up the street from us, but she hasn't been approved yet. So we're just hoping that that's where she ends up. But she's got that underway. So the current plan is that I will help her move on the Monday when we return. That is the news for the 14th. Oh, no, it's not. So at 3:30 this afternoon, I was actually talking to my father on Telegram and said, actually Bennie Sr., so this is Dominica's sister Francesca's husband's father, so her father-in-law, who we all know. has been asleep for several days, and it's not looking good. It's kind of expected that he may go any day. He was 92. That's where I got the 92 number from. And as I was typing that to my father, Dominica called from the other room to say that he had just passed away, literally that minute, because hospice was still on their way there and hadn't even turned around yet for another few minutes. So it really had just happened. So he's not a relation for us, but he's someone that we know. But for the girls' cousins, they lost their great-grandfather and their grandfather in the same day, within 10 hours of each other. So pretty rough day for them, and a tough scheduling thing logistically, because now there are two funerals that will be happening almost overlapping. That they ended up pushing off Benny Senior's, and it's going to be about a week later. So Francesca's going to be running back and forth to try to make that. Francesca and Joe are flying up. They got their tickets, and we're going to try to pick them up at the airport, possibly as we go through. They're flying into Syracuse on Saturday, so everybody will be there for Sunday. And that's pretty much what is going on. So rather eventful day here, and we'll be in New York for the next week.